And with that, we go straight into our first debate on News Hour tonight. Is it okay to ban sex education and replace it with value-based education? We are joined now by Dr. Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP, Prem Shukla, executive editor of Dopeher Ka Samna. We also have with us in our Delhi studio Priyanka Chaturvedi, spokesperson of the Congress, and Ira Trivedi, who's a novelist and author of India in Love, Marriage and Sexuality in the 21st Century. Also actor Pooja Bedi joining us live from Mumbai. And let's start straight away. Pose the question to Sambit Patra. What exactly is value-based education, since you planning, or rather Dr. Harshvardhan has advocated replacing sex education with value-based education, Dr. Sambit Patra? Whose values are we talking about?
First and foremost, I believe that this particular debate about banning sex education and all is a manufactured debate.
No,
because
not.
No one, as to why I feel, let me just clarify my point of view. Since morning we are running this, but with the clarification that Dr. Harshvardhan has given, I see there is no reason as to why we should be discussing it.
No, because the clarification has come as an afterthought after all the debate.
No, not at all. Not at all. Debate started thereafter. But remember one thing, it is almost like converting a past tense into a present tense. Something which took place in 2007, on which we had a lot of discussion. And after the discussion, the then UPA dispensation on the adolescent education program about the particular toolkit that we were talking about then, that it was vulgar, it was even withdrawn. So I believe there's no reason.
He's the health minister. It's on his website. These are essentially the thoughts. He said it's my personal opinion, but it's the thoughts of the health minister.
That's the reason as to why I say it is like past tense being converted into the present tense.
It's not
it is something which took place in 2007, which he wrote about 8 months ago. So I believe today he's not the HRD minister. He's not spoken after becoming a minister. He has not expressed his views. So I believe there's no reason as to why we should be discussing this topic at all.
No
one. BJP is the last government to stand against sex education. We have nothing against sex education.
His thought processes have changed in these 8 months. Are you trying to tell us this? In 2013, he writes a blog where he says there should be no sex education, it should be banned.
The matter was different. Even the Congress ruled states, even the Congress ruled states were standing against that matter. Congress rule, including Maharashtra, where you belong to, they were standing against the kit that was provided for the adolescents education program. And taking in view, a review committee was set by the UPA and the kit was done away with. So I see no problem with it.
No, I'd just like to make one point here to Sambit. Sambit, in 2007, this was raised and there was a committee which was formed, and then please let me speak. Various party members were a part of that committee, and it came to a conclusion that it needed to be modified. What we now have here is a reaction from the health minister, who solely on basis of his thought processes has come and said that sex education needs to be banned.
We don't have a reaction today.
Is it an ideology that
remember,
no, it's clearly
Priyanka,
an ideology that
it was not a reaction today. It was a reaction then. That is the reason as to why I say a past tense has been converted into a present tense. We should not be discussing on an issue which has never been brought. I mean, it never came up for discussion once Dr. Harshvardhan became a minister. He never uttered a word on sex education.
Sambit Patra, Priyanka Chaturvedi, good evening.
So why are we discussing an issue which is a non-issue? It is a manufactured debate, that's why I say.
Sambit. Now you say we are all talking, it's a manufactured debate. You're saying it's all in past tense, but the fact is it still remains that they remain on his website. If his point of view has changed, why haven't the contents of what has been put out changed? Why did the clarification come only when the debate and the issue was raised? And the clarification which comes also talks about vulgarization of sex education. I mean, what does he mean by that? I mean, the level, anyway, the levels of sex education that should be given in our schools is abysmal. And most, so what is vulgarization? What does he mean by that? You know, the face saver itself raises more questions.
What is vulgarization? Who decides what is vulgarization? What is immoral? What is moral?
Priyanka, I'll come across to you. Just let Sambit Patra answer this.
So pertinently, then I'll say that after the court cases yesterday, the Congress is trying to hide behind.
No, answer the question. Sambit. Let's get back to this
technical issues.
Let's go back to this.
That's what I'm saying. Let's have technical issues. Let's have technical issues over here. First and foremost, let me bring to your notice what is the definition of sex education as far as the UNICEF
No, I don't want the definition. I want you to tell me what do you mean by vulgarization of sex education? I mean, what do you mean by that explanation?
Coming to the
vulgarization of sex education. Where?
You have picked up threads from 2007 again.
No, I'm fixing up. I am asking you what has come out as a clarification.
Yes,
post the matter.
Yes, this press release
press release.
I am asking you.
This press release
Sambit, I am asking you from the press release that was issued today.
That was quite vulgar during 2007, and that's what he says.
No.
In 2007,
no, 2007 is not mentioned.
That we had
Sambit,
was not like
2007 is not mentioned. Past data is not mentioned. What is mentioned is that he is still against. He is not against sex education. Sambit, listen to me here. No, this press release. Sambit, read the press release. Sambit, read the press release. The press release says that Dr. Harshvardhan is not against sex education,
but the fact
he's
of the matter
against
is that what it was
vulgarization of
trying
sex
to implement
education.
in
What does he mean by that?
2007 was implemented after due consultation with a wide range of health experts, educationists. So all of them are completely discounted because what you think and what Dr. Harshvardhan think is the right thing to be taught. That is right. What educationists think, healthcare professionals think, all of that is moot. That doesn't matter.
You have to understand one thing. In 2007, Harshvardhan and slew of others, including many Congress people, also commented upon, objected upon what was being brought into the plate. And then a review committee was said, things were made right. Then he said that the 2000 thing was not right. Then it was made right.
So why do you want? So should it be banned?
It was banned already. That toolkit was banned by your government.
Absolutely, modification does not.
So why do you bring it over here?
You're just talking about
ignoring my question.
Sorry, you're talking about toolkit.
It was removed.
It was
one
modified.
part of the entire education curriculum.
Padmaja tried to understand the matter of 2000.
Should I assume that you're purposely ignoring my question?
Any minister,
should I assume you're deliberately ignoring my question?
That we are not for this education.
No one.
You picked up some threads from 2007.
No, Dr. Sambit Patra. Dr. Sambit Patra.
Is in place. You suddenly start discussing.
With all due respect, please listen to me. Please listen to me. Why are you ignoring my question, Sambit? My question is dated this 27th of June 2000. 27th of June 2014. The clarification statement, and I am reading from here. This is what he has said. In this case, he says, yes, I am not against, Dr. Harshvardhan is not against sex education, but he's against the vulgarization of sex education. Where did that come from and what does he mean by that?
Let me now first explain as to what he means. He categorically says over here, I'm a medical professional who has embraced rationalism, and I wholeheartedly support pedagogy, that is a way of education that is scientific and culturally acceptable. So he completely accepts that sex education cannot be done away with, should not be done away with. It is scientific, it is acceptable. But remember one thing, even the UNICEF discussion, definition as far as what is sex education says that it should be age appropriate and it should be culturally appropriate. So in this issue, Dr. Harshvardhan only reminds of the fact that back in 2007, since the issue that has been discussed since morning,
so
I had objected to. I had objected to.
He chooses to call it vulgarization.
Your chief minister from Bombay also called it vulgar. Minorities bodies across the country call it vulgar. The toolkit. Remember the toolkit.
Used in the press release.
Okay, just hold on a second, because this wrangling can go on endlessly. I also want to involve Dr. Amita Vattal at this point. She is a principal, and ultimately it is her and her students who will be affected by whatever it is that the health minister decides to say and maybe ultimately do as well. Amita Vattal, what do you make all of this? Do you think that now it should be a politician, a health minister deciding whether sex ed should really be imparted on this at a time when school children are increasingly aware? They are attaining puberty earlier. The incidence of teenage pregnancy is going up. And here we say, let's just talk about values first. Let's not introduce them to the evils of sex education. Let's just talk about family values first, because that is more important in schools.
Firstly, I'd like to start by saying that, the whole issue of sex education, the word itself seems to be creating a lot of conflict in people. And if we're not able to use the word sex, how are we going to go ahead and sensitize children towards so many issues that are taking place? So let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. As some speaker earlier said, that there are different levels at which we are dealing with children. When they're younger, when they're in the primary sections, we deal with them differently. When they're older, we deal with adolescents at the level of puberty differently. But certainly, I think it's extremely important to have an understanding of gender, of sensitivity, of awareness. And this is all brought to, it doesn't mean that sex education is a sexual act, or you're trying to show people about that, or you're trying to educate people about that. Essentially, it's about educating children about issues that are really rampant today. It's about violence on women. It's about the fact that children are getting abused. Molestation is taking place. It's taking place in work areas. It's taking place in schools. Now, unless we're aware of how this happens and how do they prevent these things from happening, how are we going to take this debate further? I think we should not get involved with the words. sex education is a very important part of family education. It's a very important part of life skills education. It's a very important part of emotional and social skills. Children today cannot deal with rejection, and you have people who throw acid on their friends or colleagues. That itself is because the whole ratio is so skewed. There's so many men and so very few women. So the point here is that this whole thing has to be looked at holistically.
Isn't all of this
we have to look at it holistically.
ostrich attitude? These are these
which
uncomfortable subjects. We don't want to deal with them. So let's just do away with them. Let's hide behind family values. Talk about that, because sex is such a scary word. No one wants to talk about it, even if that puts the children to risk, Pooja Bedi.
Somewhere you have to deal with it. Somewhere you have to deal with it. Children turn around and say that, ma'am, if we can't use the word sex and the teacher gets embarrassed, how are we going to ask her any questions if we're worried about a relationship? Or how far do we go from here? Or what is a teenage pregnancy about? So the teachers have to be empowered. They have to deal with this. They have no understunderstanding of how to go forward and deal with it. In any case,
I request you to hold your thoughts. We'll just bring in some of the other guests.
The way that they're teaching this.
Padmaja, I put across a question to Pooja Bedi. Pooja, your point of view and your response to Padmaja's question, and I'll also bring in Mr. Prem Shukla and Ira Trivedi after that.
I just like to make a couple of points there. One is, Dr. Harshvardhan has said he's not against sex education now. I want to know if he is for it, because I think it's very important to know that our ministers are for empowering the next generation. When you say sex education, it has the word education attached to it. It is something that is meant to empower you. It is not something that is meant to corrupt you. So having said that, when he says it should not be vulgar, what makes him think that we would anyway create a vulgar curriculum for our children? I mean, is that a cop-out to just say, yes, it should not be vulgar, yes, it should have values, because it resonates well to say such things with the Indian populace? I think what's really, really important here is sensitization. I think what's really important also with this current generation is to make this word sex not a bad word anymore. I think from nursery onwards, sex should be something that is a very normal word. It's a function. You eat, you sleep, you breathe, you have sex. It's just a function. How you introduce the concept of sex, good touch, bad touch, your hormonal changes, biological reactions towards the opposite sex, when you introduce, the concept of same-sex love, etc., that is dependent on ages and stages and various curriculums, etc., and the need of the hour.
I'm going to go back to the question and the argument that you raised. I'm going to go back and the argument that you raised. How can they say it is vulgarization? Because Mr. Prem Shukla, this program was aimed to impart adolescence education, not sex education. The toolkit was meant for teachers, not for students. And the program was developed by the ministry in collaboration with the National AIDS Control Organization, that is NACO. So how and what of it is vulgar? And I'm going to, after your point of view, I'm going to go across to the Springdale's principal who is with us and ask her, does she really believe that the sex education being imparted to the higher secondary students, that too at a level, is actually vulgar? And is there any merit in what has come as a clarification? I am going by the statement today. Yes, Mr. Prem Shukla.
Dr. Harshvardhan has not given any government order. Just he's making an opinion in his blog. And I
but
think
he is the health minister. He is no longer an individual person, sir. He is a public voice. He is a public voice whose opinion matters.
He had just opened a debate.
Chief ministership
and a healthy debate is required in this matter.
But it's not a healthy debate, sir. No. How can you say it's a healthy debate?
How you can say it is unhealthy?
This is an unwanted debate because you're not expecting somebody who's an ENT specialist who's supposed to be credited with eradicating polio to come out and say that sex education should be banned. One says, sorry, clarification, vulgar sex education should be banned.
What do you think?
Vulgarization should be banned. What vulgarization is sex education?
What do you think?
I mean, why should he make a statement like that?
Why he should be denied his power to... He has got also the right to express his opinion. Just he has opined it. And he has not proposed...
He is being voted to represent the people. So he might have a personal opinion. No, but every opinion of his has to be measured. No, it has to be measured. There is weight and it reflects.
Can I have 2 seconds?
Just
Samit, 1 second. I'll come across.
You can have 2 seconds here, Samit Patra. You can have those 2 seconds. Because I want to actually ask Mr. Prem Shukla on a very specific point. He said, why should Harshvardhan be denied his personal opinion?
We are not trying to defend. Just I want to say that he had just opened a debate. If you need, it is compulsory for the welfare of the children.
Mr. Prem Shukla, you made your point. You said that Dr. Harshvardhan...
So what you have to do?
Mr. Prem Shukla.
You have to do a big and large debate on it.
No, why should there be a debate on something which is
If you just allow me a question.
Why should... That's my question. we shouldn't have had to debate this. We shouldn't have had to debate this. Because this is something which all of us agree that it is important, that it's supposed to be part of our system.
Yes, of course. But
if you allow me, I just want to raise this technicality on the floor, and then after I believe the August House can take it forward. Please allow me.
Mr. Shukla, we can go on endlessly just trying to outshout each other, but I in fact wanted to rebut you on what you said. You said, why shouldn't the health minister have a personal opinion? That is because when he says something, it has ramifications. Now, it's a known fact that soon after Mr. Harshvardhan said that the use of the condom is not as effective as fidelity in preventing AIDS, NACO actually had to do a rethink on the way they were carrying out the entire AIDS prevention program. And that is why Dr. Sambit Patra, when you say, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. NACO is actually rethinking their entire anti-AIDS program now, thanks to what Dr. Harshvardhan's personal opinion was.
Dr. Harshvardhan never said do away with the condoms and don't use condoms. He only said that fidelity is equally important as condoms.
No. He said fidelity is safer.
There's nothing wrong with it.
He said ideal world, in an ideal world, this would have probably been possible.
So he should not be denied to express his opinion.
Let's come to the technicality over here. Just a second. Just a second, if I'm allowed to make this technicality, this definition by UNICEF, remember this is a worldwide definition, has to be first heard in a second. The definition is, sex education is not about teaching children how to have sex. It is about implementing a well-researched, age-appropriate. So when our talented actress Pooja ji says that from nursery we have to teach them about the word sex, I believe even UNICEF says age-appropriate.
Is get the taboo out of the way.
Just a second. She can speak for herself.
That was the point.
Yes, we can use the word awareness in nursery. We can use the word
now you made your point. Do allow me to bring in Ira. Do allow me to bring in Ira Trivedi.
Then UNICEF says culture sensitivity.
Sambit, I request you to please allow me to bring in Ira Trivedi into the debate.
Has to follow the
I also want to go back to the Spring Days principle.
UNICEF says. So why can't we follow the UNICEF's dictum at least? If we feel that Indian culture is so bad that we need to follow the West.
Sambit Patra, let the other participants also have their say.
Yes, Ira, what's your point of view? Do you agree with Sambit Patra when he gives these long-winded definitions which we already know? Or is he trying to say that the current education policy doesn't follow the guidelines of the UNICEF, and the policy that's been brought together and put in place after so much care and consideration is actually vulgar?
Anand, could I just step in right here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just trying to say that this is, first of all, this is not at all a political issue. You know, we can't look back at the past and say this is what happened, this is what didn't happen, the 2000 program was like this, what's not like this. I've gone and interviewed hundreds of young people, and at the moment, India has a huge demographic dividend. These young people are incredibly confused about sex. The abortion rates in our country are skyrocketing, and these are teenage pregnancies. If you speak to any gynecologist, this is what they'll tell you. This has a huge effect on women's health and maternal health. If we look at, you know, India is really going through a sexual revolution at the moment, and we must address it. So I do think that the health minister making views on condom usage and making very archaic views on morality and culture is definitely not what India needs at this moment of time when we're going through these incredible changes. What India has seen in the space of sex in the past 10 years has been greater than anything over the past few hundred years. And I think we all need to develop like that, and the government needs to provide the infrastructure for all of these young people. If we look at official abortion numbers, they've gone up something like 3 times over the past 6 years. If we look at teenage and premarital sex, it's gone up something like 30 to 40%, and even 15, 16-year-olds now are having sex in metro areas, and counselors will tell you that, doctors will tell you that. So I do really believe that we need all the infrastructure to provide that. What I do not like about the health minister's statements are his statements on morality and culture. What is Indian culture? What is morality? Because in many parts of our country, for example, the Khasis, premarital sex is okay. Who is to say that premarital sex is good or bad, or a certain way of sexual behavior is good or bad? So I'm not so sure that any one view can be taken on on Indian culture or Indian morality. And also when it comes to vulgarity, I have seen those 2007 AEP programs, and they're hardly vulgar. In fact, in today's day and age, we do need a very, very structured sexual education program. I'm not that old myself. I went through the school system 10 years ago, and let me tell you that it's abysmal. There is one sex education class in the 10th standard that lasts for 30 minutes, and that is all the sex education anyone gets. And I also believe that these days...
Absolutely. In fact, that's the question I'm taking to Dr. Sambit Patra. You were talking about how Dr. Harshvardhan was just articulating a more cultural view of how AIDS prevention can be done, of how sex education should be conducted. Again, on technicalities, since you're talking about technicalities, a study was conducted, and the source is UNDP and the National AIDS Control Organization, which said, and you're talking about a husband-wife relationship, 90% of the 39% of the women who were surveyed got HIV from their husbands. So it's not essentially fidelity only that will keep you safe from AIDS.
Dr. Harshvardhan was not teaching fidelity only to a particular gender. He was talking in general.
He said fidelity is more effective if we just stick to Indian values and we are faithful in our relationship. It's more effective than the use of a condom, which is not true.
There was no comparison, which is more, which is less. He was only talking of a holistic approach, that if condoms are important, equally important is the fidelity also.
No, he said it's more important to talk.
No, he said it, yes.
See, I mean, there's no denying that every part is important.
At least listen to a divergent view.
Important. I get the point.
You're saying something which is not true, Sambit.
Should we listen to you then? He has in his next statement said that I am approaching a holistic view. He is taking a holistic view towards prevention of AIDS. What's wrong with the health minister talking about
my question, again, I'm going to come back to the statement today. Sambit Patra, I'm not going to go to the past. I'm going to come back to the question today, and I'm going to come back to this statement today, and I'm going to ask Amita Wattal this. Do you take exception to that clarification or the face saver that came from Dr. Harshvardhan's side, that he says he's against the vulgarization of sex education? Do you believe that sex education, there is vulgarization of sex education in our school system today? Is he right in making a comment like that?
You asking me this question?
No, I'm asking Amita Wattal, principal of the Springdale School.
No, I would like to firstly again say that why aren't we bringing adolescents, and why aren't we asking them, why aren't we doing a survey with children and asking them what they think about this? Because ultimately they lie at the heart of the debate. And if you've said, and we all believe that the adolescent's age has shifted, and today's 16-year-old is like yesterday's 18-year-old, or today's 14 is like yesterday's 16. And the fact that we bring in psychologists very, very often into schoolrooms to discuss relational issues with children, to discuss because they say that technologically they have so much that comes at them through technology, whether it is aberrated sex or whether it is irregular sex or regular sex. All the time they have huge blasts of it coming through technology, and there's a lot of confusion in their minds. And so I think the very fact that there has to be discussion, there has to be a dialogue, we should open out this dialogue to young adolescents. We're constantly talking about let them look at the environment, they are our new tomorrows. Then why aren't we bringing them into the debate and asking them what they want, instead of all of us sitting here and discussing politics? I think it's essential that we have to look at the way our children are looking at things. It is essential that we have to see that they need us right now. There has to be a dialogue on the whole understanding.